Hello, welcome back. I am Diprup, the host, and I have four people, two of whom will fight for the growth of growth marketing, and two will take sides of product. And hopefully, let's see who the wins. Uh, I I've been on both the sides of the divide, and I have my own views, but I'll not try to express them. So we will go alphabetically in trying to in introductions. So Ashish, why don't you start?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Dipto. So, hi guys, Ashish Agrawal here. So, I've been working for almost 13 plus years now. Last 10 years of which has been mostly into digital marketing. So, I'm a software developer. I started being a software developer. Then I got my MBA in marketing. So, I have a love for both technology as well as marketing. So, digital marketing is something which kind of marries both of them, and I really love this field. And yeah, it has been great being a part of the evolution of this, and I am very happy to be a part of this chat that Dipto has put together today. Yeah.
Pradyut. Yeah.
Hi guys, thank you so much, Deepto, for
Sorry.
having me. Yeah,
Yeah. Go
I
ahead. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I thought.
that wasn't quite alphabetical, but we'll go with that. Yeah, so I've been a SaaS marketer and actually been on both sides of the fences, done both growth and product marketing for about 4.5 years, primarily in the customer engagement SaaS space. Worked at the likes of CleverTap and Netcore Cloud. And it's been a fascinating experience, meaning which that it's hard to sort of like pick a side, but I will have to put my bias thinking cap on today and really stand ground along with Molshri on this conversation today. So really looking forward to this, and yeah, I think let's get this show on the road.
Moshi.
Thank you, Dipto. This is Molshri Sharma. I'm the Director of Marketing at Zycus. Currently, in my role, I'm handling product marketing, analyst relations, content marketing, and customer marketing, essentially all the activities and even growth marketing for the existing customers. But in the past, in my 11 and a half years of tenure, I have actually handled different facets of marketing, including growth marketing, partner marketing, sales enablement, and all these different kinds of marketing that we are talking about today, including digital and all. So I think I'm happy to support product marketing today, but in general, I support marketing. Thank you.
Rohit.
Thanks, Dipto, for having me. Thanks, guys, for the introduction. My name is Rohit. I have been, the last 7 years, I have been in SaaS. I started with WebEngage, then moved on to CleverTap, then to Netcore, and right now I am in a part of the marketing org at ZoomInfo. I have had, so I started out as a content marketer, did bits and pieces of product marketing in the past, but did not know it was called that. And then moved into growth for the past 3 years almost. Loved every bit of it, loved every bit of being in SaaS. Off work, I am a poet and at times stand-up comics at unknown clubs. So yeah.
Okay. So thank you. So first question, and this is to both. Do you think demand generation or growth marketing, this all four can address, and I'll ask the same question a little bit later, will report to eventually or start reporting to the sales function or the chief revenue officer? How many of you think so, and why? And why not? Rohit, why don't you go?
So the trend that I'm seeing all across, I see that happening, and I don't say, while I agree to the reality of it, I don't say I'm happy about it, because at the end of it, it should always report into a marketing leader and not a revenue focused, because it becomes very tactical. It becomes a very quarter to quarter thinking, and that's why I don't agree to it. But yes, I'll not deny the writing on the wall. That is sort of what is happening, and then I can see in the foreseeable future as well.
Ashish?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Rohit's thoughts on this. Actually, I've also reported to a sales leader sometime back in my career, and I've felt the difference, you know. So I agree, like it becomes a little tactical, and there are a lot of things which cannot be, in marketing, just be attributed to just revenue. You know, there's a lot of things which work in the background, which kind of set the sales for, sales or lead generation going forward too. So I think there are a lot of elements. So ideally, there should be a marketing leader who has that kind of a thinking. But yeah, I mean, the wind is blowing towards that, and so ultimately, I think marketing eventually is looked at as something where sales function becomes a client for marketing. So in that sense, yeah, I mean, the expectation is that slowly it will move in that direction. But I mean, I agree with Rohit. So ideally, there should be a marketing leader we should be reporting into who understands marketing. Yeah.
Pradyut Mochi, do you have a different point of view on growth marketing?
Well, I would just like to add what Ashish mentioned. Now, Ashish mentioned about the wave and the wind, but I believe in turning that wind or stopping that wave. I definitely agree with both Rohit and Ashish that there should be a central marketing function. If demand generation or growth marketing will report into sales function, then sales is defocused from their revenue generation goal, which is not good. And if sales gets into marketing, then marketing becomes more mechanical in nature and less creative. So I would say a tiff between sales and marketing should be there. So it should be two different functions, and it is better for the company in general to achieve that growth. And obviously, it will it will actually hit the bottom line in the right manner. So I would agree to both Rohit and Ashish's point.
Yeah, just to add to that, while I'm in agreement with what's happening in terms of the trend, there are two facets I'd like to bring to the table here. Number one, this seems like a force fit in terms of forcing the agenda for sales and marketing alignment. Number two, there is a cultural angle here. So when it's a sales-driven organization, you are bound to see such a move gather momentum. But even for organizations that are not heavily sales driven or maybe more focused on self-serve, what happens is this sort of pushes the realm towards them becoming more sales driven. So there's a cultural aspect to this as well, which needs to be taken into consideration while organizations are
What is
realigning their structures.
the cultural aspect?
So the point I made was there are sales driven organizations that would adopt such a structure more easily, but there are also organizations that may not be that heavily sales focused or sales driven, so to speak. And for them to align marketing or growth marketing to sales and then sort of muddle the sort of collaboration between revenue and sales as such may sort of it would it would sort of create a situation where they don't have a choice but to be more sales driven. Companies who are not sales driven might become more sales driven, especially in a situation like this.
So let me flip the question a bit.
Sure.
Yesterday, I was talking to the head of product management at Zycus. He said, I asked him specifically, he said that I asked him whether product marketing will report to product management. He said he'll be happy with it. And he also felt that, yes, the movement is happening. So how many feel that product marketing as a function, Freshworks, Razorpay already has it, where product marketing reports to product management? So is that a trend? Because you guys said that growth marketing seems to be going that way, reporting to sales function. Product marketing reporting to product management. Is that happening? Or do you see it happening, Pradyut?
That's definitely already in the works. And I've worked at organizations that have, again, where PMM has reported into marketing and PMM has gradually reported into PM as well. And there is a marked difference in the way PMM is structured, the way OKRs are decided and doubled down on, and the way the entire function sort of evolves. So that's a trend that will definitely continue to gather more momentum. Even more so in multi-product SaaS companies, where a closer alignment with PM, I feel, is definitely more beneficial and in terms of unlocking value when it comes to the PMM function.
Akshay?
Yeah, so Diptarup, I believe that there are different schools of thought. I would say that some product marketing function when report into product management function would do really well because they have that kind of objective. Some product marketing functions would remain as independent functions, but my viewpoint, eventually product marketing should not report into product management. The only thing is when product management is conceptualizing or developing a particular product, then they have a product in mind. It's technical in nature, it's functional in nature, it's not marketing. When it comes to the crude product comes to marketing, and I'm talking about software product and SaaS marketing, then there's a lot of scope to package that particular crude product with creative messaging, punchy lines, and I would say to highlight the strengths and maybe create an objection handling document, and which is more like a messaging which can cover the shortcomings against the competition. So I would say that either if we are going towards tech marketing world where product marketing is reporting into product management and becoming very techy in nature, or else product marketing B2B is blurring with B2C, where we are actually making sure that the messaging is bang on, in the sense the messaging is punchy, it's catchy, and it appeals to the end user or the C-level executives that we are selling to. So I think B2B, when B2B and B2C boundaries when blur into each other, makes the best product marketing output. That's what
So,
I
are
feel.
are you saying, Rohit, do you agree that messaging and creativity is not a forte of growth marketers? Do you agree with that? And that you can't come out with creative messages?
It's not about the being the photo. It's about the choice that you make choosing that profile. I mean, anybody in marketing can write like anybody else, but it's the muscle that you build by doing that job over and over again, by launching more and more products and creating all of those messaging metrics. I think as a KRA, it should lie with product marketing. I think it's more of a question about responsibility than the ability of it.
What about you, Ashish? What you have a different point of view?
So I think Dipto, like if you are working in marketing, there is no choice but like you have to be creative. That's why you're in marketing. It's just that I think in growth marketing, maybe you have an opportunity to express your creativity in different ways. Like for example, if I have to take a option like we come up with the content calendar, let's say for SEO related content, to try and increase traffic and eventually get more people going through your content, etc. So all that cannot happen if you are creatively inclined, because you need to come up with like a calendar which is also creative, which appeals to your end consumer and also makes sense for your brand. So I mean, I think the creativity is definitely applied, but maybe product marketing does it in a different way, which is more related to end copywriting per se, so it comes across as being more creative. But I think even the growth marketers cannot do so without being creative at the end of the day. So I think it's expressed a little differently is what I feel. Yeah.
So let me just now give heat it up a bit. So there is a school of thought which is coming up, which is integrated marketing. And let me explain it. Okay. So there are a lot of definitions of integrated marketing. In a multiple product company, or maybe a single product company, let's take first example of Netco. Say, for example, you have personalization as a product, and you have analytics as a product, right? So personalization, you have a product marketing lead. Under it is a demand generation person, whichever you call it. Sometimes a field marketing person, which is basically doing the events and all the stuff for that. Okay. And maybe a digital marketing person, right? The demand generation person works on the ABM part, or the persona, ICP, and all the stuff, definitions and all the stuff. And maybe even a product marketing person who creates the messaging and positioning and all the stuff. Okay. So here, the growth marketing or head of growth as a function becomes a part of product marketing, right? And the role of growth marketing diminishes. Uh, Zoho experimented with that, but I think they abandoned it. But some companies are going that direction, like iCertis is experimenting now. Maybe they will adopt that functionality or whatever. So, and I'm talking about, so in that case, what happens to each of these respective functions? And that is a journey which is happening, right? You don't see the opposite, which means you don't see a head of growth under which there is a product marketer, or event marketer and all the stuff. You see the other way around. Okay, at least some of it. Maybe you have seen it differently, but that's what I've observed. So what is then the role going to be? What is going to happen to marketing?
So I'll just take a stab at this first. So in terms of the structure that you outlined, you may not have like a head of growth or like a lead product marketer for that particular product. Generally, what I've seen is there is a product owner. So there is a product owner who then has a digital or a growth marketing representative, someone from product marketing, and so on and so forth. Like it's basically like a crack team of maybe 4 or 5 focused on that particular product line. And this just buys into the entire movement towards having those micro or mini CMOs or heads of growth for each of these different product lines. And I think it's a shift that will gather more and more momentum, primarily because of the pros that it really brings to the table. Especially in terms of the cross-functional collaboration that it can really benefit teams with. Predominantly, I'm talking about marketing cross-functional collaboration in terms of utilization of resources to the optimal level, in terms of transparency in budget allocation, use, and impact. And essentially, there is a clearer path to achieving the metrics that matter the most. So you're going to see this shift happen more and more, as you pointed out, in multi-product SaaS companies. And this is a structure that will definitely take root. Whether it works for all products is difficult to say. It's a trial and error thing that we're going to have to wait and watch. But you will definitely see more organizations adopt such an approach.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would like to say that obviously, if we just want to personify these functions, so say for example, product marketing is the thought in the mind, because when launching a particular product or the entire suite of products, that thought is very important, that how are you taking this message to the market. And I would say digital marketing, or you mentioned field marketing, or you mentioned growth marketing, they are voice of that particular thought, and that voice is either, I think, the main medium, whatever, digital channel or offline channel, but that voice is very important to take that message out in the market. So when I say that when in a human body voice works without thought, then it doesn't make sense. If thought is there but voice is not there to convey that message, then doesn't make sense. So I would say a very strong collaboration, and when part of the same lead or team lead, or as you mentioned that there is a product head and then there are two teams reporting into one another, it actually helps. Because in the past, for a suite of products, or I would say the entire suite of some applications, the product marketing team was reporting into me, and for an enterprise geography, all the demand generation activities, that team was also reporting into me, and a strong collaboration was there. So to achieve that end objective, it is very important. So reporting into one lead makes sense. And now also I'm looking at the current role that I have, like product marketing also reports into me, and customer marketing, all the demand generation activities for the existing customers also report into me. So now there's a very close collaboration, and the thought is conveyed by the voice beautifully to the audience, and it helps. So that's my thought.
Rohit?
Yeah, I have a very contrarian point of view to this. The overall, like when you see it from a product perspective or maybe a company perspective, it makes sense. But overall, the character arc of marketing is moving from being a support function to a revenue function. And that basically means you like marketing orgs and sub orgs signing up for revenue. And that is happening like across, at least in SaaS. If you're not doing it, you are maybe 5 years behind. When I talk about revenue, signing up for revenue, I have never seen a product marketing function doing that. So with that on board, you really need somebody who understands the like taking up revenue as a goal kind of a function. And that's
the
why
the business side of things.
Yes. And that's why the evolution of growth team has become from campaign management, from digital marketing to demand generation, and now to growth, because what it really represents is the business growth side of things. And while a central CMO and a mini CMO and a micro CMO concept is very valid, what it really translates into is a growth head at the top of it, because he understands the markup side, he or she, I'm sorry, understands the markup side of things, the strategy part, the growth functions, as well as the product marketing functions, because the second level and third level people, dotted line reporting into him, gives a more holistic perspective rather than just being the creative head for that product. And this is in my understanding is the near term evolution of marketing as a function.
Ashish?
So yeah, I think Dipto, like I mean, I like if there's a product owner, basically what I feel is the main focus of that person is to first, come up with a strategy of how, you're going to evolve this product, how you're going to take it to market, etc. Because what I'm seeing is like there are two types of content typically which get made, right? Like if there's product marketing, they will come up with a lot of content which talks about the product, etc., which is used much lower down in the funnel, which is a very critical part of your sales cycle, but it's, used lower down in the funnel, used to enable sales and also by marketing. But if you look at a lot of what the demand generation team or the digital team, etc., does today is get interest of people at the top of the funnel. And I think for that there is like content or whatever is required is very different from something which like very product focused content can help over there. Because just to get people interested in your product, you need to come up with a lot of content which is a lot more generic, thought leadership focused, etc. So I don't think I mean just like a hardcore focus on product related content would help at this stage. So that kind of thinking needs to be present when you're attacking this stage of the funnel. And to be honest, like if you're making something and people are not searching for it or are not expecting that kind of content, on typical social media channels, etc., then it's not going to work as much. So it does make sense to kind of look into what's actually working over there, and then kind of putting your own brand spin on it and coming up with that. And that can only happen when you have that kind of research process around that thought leadership content. So I think that there is this kind of a difference which comes in when you're only looking at product focused content compared to like a lot of thought leadership content which actually works fantastically well at the top of the funnel. So that's what I feel.
Anybody else? Any other points? Okay, so my question now is that one of the challenge, one of the things which is happening is that growth marketing is usually easily measurable. Okay, the MQL. In fact, there's a funny thing. There is now MAL, MQL, SQL, SAL, SQO, SQO. 5 stages before it becomes a whatever an opportunity. Okay,
There's
so,
also PQL that's come into the mix.
yeah, PQL. The PQL somebody
Reminds me of your LinkedIn update.
Huh? Yeah.
It reminds
So-
me of your LinkedIn update. A signed contract would be taken as an MQL from a couple of
Yeah.
months.
It is actually happening. I 5 years back, downloads was taken as a MQL. Okay, so when I joined Netcore, I was told that no, only demo request is an MQL. So me and Ankit studying it. Anyway, so Ankit is Ankit Sharma, not Agarwal Manshu. So so this so my thing is growth is easily measurable. Product marketing, the growth says escapes. They talk in terms of content downloads, how much time, how many have you shared, and all the stuff. Growth marketing says product marketing is just content creator. Product marketing says growth marketing is just numbers, Excel sheet managers. Okay, where does the twin meet? What do you think on these lines? And another thing is that can they collaborate? Because I'll tell you, when I started this function in one of my previous organizations, product marketing, there was an upheaval, major negativity. There was a senior person who left and is now in Freshworks. And the reason he cited was because he wanted to do product marketing and somebody else wanted to do growth market, demand generation, whatever would happen. Okay, let's not get into the politics of it. But eventually, and a lot of people presently also, I spoke today in the morning with someone who is just about 2 years old. And she said that, look, I don't want to be in product marketing. It's content creation. Okay, so where is this? I mean, what is happening to it, and how many people agree with that? How can you make each one love each other, another?
I think I think product marketers and growth marketers at the core of it realize that they can't function without the other. They're basically like two hubs of the same, two spokes of the same wheel. What's important to understand is that when it comes to growth marketing, it is a far more evolved function within marketing itself, which is why there is more clarity in terms of tactics, strategy, and metrics that matter the most. When it comes to product marketing, it means different things to different companies. So while we have like a basic basket of OKRs or KRAs in place that would revolve around go to market, your sales enablement, customer marketing, all of that, The thing is aligning those OKRs to a particular company and at what stage they find themselves at in their evolutionary curve, that becomes a challenge, which means that on occasions there can be a KRA turf war between growth marketing and product marketing. I'm going to cite an example from the recent past itself, where at Netcore Cloud, something like analyst relations and PR was I can't say a bone of contention, but it was a question of who's going to pick this up between growth marketing and product marketing. I see Rohit smiling, so he knows what I'm talking about. So when OKRs are not clearly defined for a function like product marketing, which could be new in the larger ecosystem of a company, in that case, that entire KRA turf war is something that does flare up from time to time. So that's one point I wanted to bring out. I'm going to wait for some of the other points to come out and then I'll add a few.
Yeah, go ahead. Rest.
When it comes to success metrics, eventually, I wouldn't say that product marketers are content creators. And to your earlier point,
No, I'm not saying that, but there's a perception that it is like that. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so don't mistake me on that.
No,
please.
perfectly fine. So that's the reason since it's a war, Dipto, you mentioned it's a war, so you have to fight. So I'm mentioning, so product marketers are not content creators, and growth marketers are also not those guys who manage Excel sheets or do analytics and those kind of things. I completely agree to the fact that obviously, and I would stick to my earlier point where thought and voice should work together. And product marketing, as rightly mentioned by Ashish, would always create content. Now, content, not just product focus, but thought leadership as well. I would cite one example from the company. Like, say, for example, we are focusing on AI and product marketing is talking about AI. But just because RPA is so jazzy and it so appeals to the audience, other consulting firms, other vendors are talking about RPA, growth marketing will start talking about RPA. But that's against our strategy. We are not talking about RPA, it's only AI. Now, though these are synonymous, but our corporate strategy revolves around AI and RPA is totally different. Similarly, another example, now growth marketers will feel that, okay, trending topic is blockchain. Let's promote that because everybody is talking about it. Competition is talking about it. But then corporate strategy and product marketing says that, okay, blockchain is not in our roadmap, boss, we are not selling it. What if sales lead would come and what we will showcase? This is not our strategy. Let's not talk about this. Now, this is a war to actually come to a solution. That's the solution, that it should be one team. When growth marketing would report into product marketing and a product lead, as Dipto, you mentioned initially, where mind and thought and voice are obviously correlated to each other, and success metrics are same. Nowadays, I don't think product marketing is measured just by how many content pieces you created. Actually, we are measured on metrics like website traffic, website page downloads, social actions, feature adoption, social actions on social media, and if I just talk about analyst community, recognition, mentions. If I talk about prospects, leads and clicks. Leads and clicks are not coming. That means product marketing is not creating content, or they don't have a right kind of messaging. Okay, customers, we are not cross-selling. Why? Because content. Talent acquisition. Why talent acquisition is not ready for hiring? Because they don't have a good corporate strategy and messaging and content from product marketing. Okay, so all these prospect, customers, analysts, HR, everybody is using content which is created by product marketing. Essentially, that kind of messaging is disseminated across various different channels, and even partners. Like, if partners are selling our product, it should be there should be a kind of correlation between our messaging and the partner messaging, because they are reselling our product. So in that case, I would just like to mention there should be a correlation, and success matrix should be same. So one should be obviously leads, engagement, social actions, downloads, clicks, and all should be attributed to both the teams, not just growth marketing. And that's when,
So let me interrupt and ask this question specifically to Rohit only. Rohit, in your previous role at Netcore, you were responsible for social followers, website traffic, likes, engagement. Now she's saying that it's not your measurement, it's a product marketing measurement. So are you going to let go of those kind of yeah, or is it going to be joint responsibility?
We have a product marketer from Network. Why don't you ask him?
No, you answer. No, I'm asking you.
No, I'm just taking a dig at Pradit. He's a brother. So, I mean, Molchri, it was a beautiful answer that you made everything about product marketing. I'm sure you are a great evangelist there. So,
Today I'm supporting product marketing. Tomorrow, if I'll support growth marketing, you will see beautiful statements there as well.
no, so I'm what do you say? Complimenting your advocacy skills. Nothing, not taking a dig at you. So, obviously, like I don't think there's a clear demarcation of that, but how I understand it personally is product marketing is very much responsible in defining that grammar. I mean, defining grammar and writing those sentences are two very different things. Most people in this world take product marketing to be excellent copywriters. They don't need to be. They need to be the guys who can define that messaging, define that grammar, so that everyone around in the company, be it the talent acquisition, be it the L&D guys, be it the social media marketer, be it the grammar, use the same words or similar words and talk about the same thing as if it's the product marketer who has written it. There cannot be 100 product marketer. You cannot write SDR emails, right? It's very impractical to think about that. And that's why it's very impractical to think about that you can write social media copies. You're not going to have that control over the organization. It's a very, very wishful thinking, and it will never happen. And that's why maybe that is why the divide is there, that how can I own the metrics if I don't own the outcome? And which I can understand and I sympathize with that. But saying that all the content that is to be used across an organization needs to be created by product marketing, I don't think that's a recipe for scale. You will have to hire like 100 people to do that. And I like, we have all seen companies who have scaled to 500 million ARR with barely 20 people team. And I'm talking about the likes of Gongs and Drifts of the world. So that's the difference of opinion that I have with whatever Molchri just said.
Yeah, which is basically, which is why it's positioning and messaging and not just content, right? But that's one of the other challenges that happens internally for product marketing, where they get tagged as a glorified content marketing or a content strategy team, which means that everything from a WhatsApp invite to an event to a product launch blog post and everything is considered product marketing's content baby. So, you know, as Rohit rightly pointed out, there's another side to this.
Ashish, you want to take something on this? Your metrics are being served.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would say, like, you know, as a growth marketer, obviously, what you can't measure cannot grow, right? You have to measure. I mean, measurement is a very big part of, I would say, like a very big part, because till you actually don't measure and understand what are your like in case of B2B marketing, there are such long sales cycle. If you don't understand which channels are kind of contributing to your initial touch points, which are influencing your entire purchase journey, etc. I don't see how the process can be meaningfully improved, you know, going forward. Because if you don't know, then you can't improve, right? So I do think definitely like measurement is a very big part. But like if I look at, you know, the removing the product marketing contribution, even if it's, we say it's, you know, primarily content, I don't think growth marketing can function without that, because the content is kind of the lifeblood of what is going on. And vice versa, even for product marketing, I don't think without these kind of insights which I was talking about, the kind of analysis we run, what's working in the market, we're running a let's say paid ads program that kind of tells you in which market which content is kind of resonating, right? Or we have seen things like when we started attacking Europe market, the same content was not working, but when we get it translated into local languages, tweak it a little bit here and there, then it starts working. So I think it's a combination of both the content and the measurement which will make a difference. So I think these two teams better learn to work together. If they don't, then it's a loss overall for the company. But yeah, I mean, like since you mentioned the metrics, Tipto, I think that is critical for both of them. If we don't measure and understand things, then we're not going to improve. Like there's no way you can improve till you do that. So I do think that it is important.
And one more important trend, Dipto, that I've been seeing now, product marketers are also involved in high potential customer deals. Like recently in our organization, there was more like a kind of high potential deal where product marketing was involved to create that kind of specific messaging, not just content, I would say specific messaging, how to fight against those objections, those challenges, and not just about product, but entire thing. What about IT security? What about implementation? What about customer support? These kind of content pieces and thought that suits a C-level person sitting on the other side of the table, evaluating us against vendors. So I think where we can actually contribute to revenue, obviously some portion of it, but at least contributing to revenue. There are special programs nowadays, strategic programs like competitive differentiation programs or replacement programs, or focusing on high potential customer retention kind of programs where product marketing is playing a role. And of course, that is how we're contributing to revenue indirectly as well.
Okay, so let me ask a yes no kind of a question. I will name some functions and you tell me whether you should report to product growth or to some other function within marketing function. Okay, and be one by one. Okay, so I'll go with Ashish first. So event marketing, Ashish, should it report to growth, product, or should it be independent function? I mean, given this, assuming that the organization has some scale. Okay, because at a very small organization, obviously everything.
I think if there's a GTM, maybe it can report into that.
No. Just which one? There's no qualification. Who should it report? With the product, with the growth marketing, product. Even marketing should report to growth marketing. Product marketing. Okay.
Product marketing.
Pradyut?
100% product marketing, because at the end of the day, it's one of the activations that a product marketer would get to test messaging and positioning on. So
you are saying no, the choice of the events and
everything,
negotiation,
right from identifying the event to actually figuring out what to go and present there, whom to present to, and setting up those breakout meetings, etc. That should be product marketing's baby.
Rohit?
A third theme, independently working, liaising with product marketing as well as growth.
Okay, Mochi?
Product marketing for sure, and it has happened in Zycus also, like the major user conference that we are conducting. It's under product marketing, and in general, I think I'm seeing that kind of trend.
And okay, next is internal communications. I know nobody is interested in that because it's gone into HR now.
Product marketing.
Yeah, see, I told you nobody wants.
So I'm gonna say independent in this case. I'm gonna work the.
So I have reasons why I'm telling this, but I thought it was a yes or no.
What are the reasons?
So I mean, if you're not marketing it internally, you will never be successful in marketing it externally, because even if your customer is saying a certain line or treading a certain line of messaging, and if your sales guy is not speaking the same language or your pre-sales guy is not speaking the same language, then you are not doing the justice. And even if you're training the sales guys and the pre-sales guys, if that communication is not consistent across your customer success / support, the entire user life cycle that you need to build for that product adoption, it sort of breaks. So you, like it or not, product marketing has to own it, because that consistent line of messaging, and I'm not saying that you will have to write that messaging, but at least, like going back to my earlier point, that you will have to direct it, and that can only come when you have that ownership.
But Rohit, in the case of internal communication, it's not just product or feature focused, right? It's a lot more than just that. So for it to lie under product marketing would not.
Are we talking about corporate communications or something?
No, internal communication. The Diwali party. There
you go, Rohit.
Okay, sorry, I'm grossly mistaken. It should ideally be HR or some admin function or something.
Okay,
There's got to be an internal communication team that reports into the.
Sure. I wanted to know that because nobody is actually interested in that function. Actually, not in marketing. So it is moving into HR, by the way.
That's,
okay. Absolutely.
It is moving into HR. Second, defining the ICP. Who should be responsible for it?
Product marketing. Absolutely.
I think sales team.
Product marketing with inputs from sales and sales engineering.
And product marketing should have a veto on that, because they are the guys who will actually create the first line of messaging. And and honestly, if a product marketer is not very through with the ICP, they can never do a good job of it.
What about you, Moultrie? Product
Agree.
ICP.
Agree. Product.
So basically, Rohit, your job potential is reducing. Anyway,
That's okay. I'm happy with that. Like, anyways, like we are arriving at an ideal definition, right? None of the organizations are ideal in today's world, so I'm happy
But
with that.
yeah,
okay, and last,
Dipto,
Ashish.
adding to that, like what I have seen is like even though the ICP is defined very closely in organizations which have been around for some time, but when you're actually running campaigns or doing something, you'll realize that there are a lot of adjacent, let's say titles, etc., which should get targeted, which have got missed out. So there is definitely a lot of scope to add to what you already have out there. So maybe that kind of refinement can be done by people like maybe growth marketers also over a period of time, I think.
Okay, and finally, analytics relationships. Who should it ideally report into? Ideally, okay. Just to give you SaaS companies, AR big SaaS companies. Okay, uh, not as big as Salesforce or whatever, but say Coupas and all this stuff. AR is now has become an independent function. Okay, so sometimes reports to the CEO also. Okay, AR ideally, if it is supposed to report into marketing, who is it supposed to report to? Should it be independent marketing function, or should it report to product, or should it report to growth? Should it report to something else?
I have absolutely zero experience there, but what I'm seeing right now in the organization that I work for, it has been shifted out of marketing into an independent organization, and that's sort of becoming the norm. It's sort of the category creation, category evangeling sort of the vertical that is there. So AR and I have no first-hand experience of that.
I think it depends on the size of the company also and where they are at in terms of initiating conversations in the AR realm. But what I've seen is that it is either a hardcore KRA for product marketing, and depending upon how fast the company is going, then it gets spun off into an independent function within marketing itself. ARPR becomes a completely different ball game, especially when you have multi-product SaaS companies.
I agree.
Moultrie?
In fact, if it is independent, it's independent. But many years I've been handling AR along with product marketing. So I think it gels really well with product marketing when it is part of the marketing function, as you mentioned. If it's marketing, then because we are aiming at product leadership. So obviously, Gartner Magic Quadrant and Forrester Wave of the world is pretty critical in SaaS world, and everybody is obviously striving for that product leadership, and so it gels really well with product marketing.
Ashish, you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on that?
No, I agree with Pradyut, what he said, that it can start off with reporting into product or being managed by product marketing, and then slowly evolving into a separate team as the company matures when there's more focus required.
Okay, so there is a small information. The reason AR is moving out of product marketing or sometimes even out of marketing is because Gartner, if you see the AR reports that Gartner has published of late, they are nudging it to move out of marketing. Okay, they are saying it's a specialized function. One, and second reason they want is that Gartner and marketing are not gelling that well, because remember they have a product which they talk to marketing, as in marketing becomes their customers. So like Gartner for product marketing teams, the product, right? So if AR becomes part of that, they lose revenue. So it's a Gartner push. And when something like Gartner takes a stance and all that stuff, they're able to convince big companies and then it percolates down. All right. So, okay. So that's how it happens.
Purpose, right? New team, new budget, new line of items.
Money. It's a money talk.
Or it's a lobbying effort.
Okay, so I'll just give you a small instance. There's a product called Gartner for product marketing team, because I'm doing it right now, and a Gartner for product team. There's only 3 modules. Trust me, only 3 modules, which is 9 analysts, which are separate. You know how much extra you have to pay for that? Extra 1 crore 7 lakhs just for 9 analysts annually.
I think if this was not recorded, we would have a longer conversation around this point, but I'll let that go.
Yeah. Anyway, so since we're running a little short on time, I'll have a quick question. How do you reduce the friction between these two teams? There is friction, right? So, I mean, we already saw it. So how do you reduce the friction? What would be some of the best practices? With a lot of quotes around it.
I have not seen it enough. I'll let Molchri or Ashish answer that, and then I'll add my point of view.
I think both these teams need to report to a CMO. That can help.
That's what's happening right now, or isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think
No,
that
but
kind.
that friction has not gone away. I mean, Zycus, the friction is there. I mean, maybe I don't know last year and a half what has happened, but it was definitely there. Icertis, there's friction. Right now I'm in a startup, so I can't say if there's friction, it's totally my fault. But the Netcore, there was a little bit of friction. So everywhere I've seen friction. I've spoken to quite a
I,
few of them,
I
and
think
the idea is that they're content creators.
I think Dipto, I think one thing which what I felt is, both the sides also need to be better trained and educated on what the other side also does. For example, if you take any growth marketer and ask them, what the product is about, what is it features, what are its roadmaps, I don't think you'll get a very convincing answer unless that person is very invested into, the product. But if you like similarly, if you take a product marketer today and ask them about what's happening in the world of growth marketing, what SEO, how it functions, or how paid advertising functions, or how to measure stuff in analytics, etc., they won't have a very like hardcore understanding into how things work. I think that education is also lacking across both the teams is what I feel. I think that can help overall to understand what value the other team is kind of actually bringing into the entire process. I think that is missing a lot, is what I feel. That can help, I think.
Anybody else?
I think regular meetings and connects as well as proper planning can help, because ultimately both the teams are aiming towards one single goal, which is obviously success and better revenue and better opportunities. So I think regular connects would definitely help. And apart from that, product marketing and growth marketing, both functions need to be proactive in identifying sales needs, market needs, and then working towards it, rather than being more reactive in the nature and just like fulfilling the needs, in the sense like, okay, this is demand for a content, let's create a demand for a campaign, let's do it. So rather than that, market understanding, product understanding is very important, and then proactively working towards that single goal in collaboration with each other would make sense.
Okay, I have one and a half more questions. Quickly answer. What do you think are skills required for a growth marketer and a product marketer? Are they same, or are they different skills? I mean, I know a lot of people have moved across functions, but ideally, if you're looking to hire a person, Rohit, under your team, what is the skill that you'll require, you look for, and Pradyut, when you hire someone in your team, what would you look for, or Mochi, or Ashish? Skills. Okay, skills. What is the skills that you look for? Say skill is like be comfortable with numbers, or research skills is a skill.
So I personally am a bit skewed towards generalists. And I'll tell you why. Because growth marketing in itself, like we have 3 to 4 names in the past 5 years, it's a very dynamic mix of strategies and tactics, and it has been changing. Like every couple of months you see something new coming in. Like, what is ABM anyway? Like so there is a discussion about everything that has evolved and changed over the years. So honestly, when I look at people, I see generalists with an analytical bent of mind, and also who can just be aware and figure it out. And that's exactly what my team has been, and I have done it like 3 times with similar kind of people, and I have seen extreme success with that. And I am a bit inclined towards that. Honestly, like pre-existing know-how of platforms really doesn't make any difference for me when I'm hiring people. So smart generalists who can figure things out and who can get up to speed very quickly.
I think over and above that, curiosity and coachability is something I try and gauge very soon in my conversations, and even when I'm having follow-up rounds through maybe a case study, etc. Why those two are important is because curiosity and coachability will actually cover the entire spectrum of what you will eventually need. Comfort with tools, an analytical bent of mind that's going to take you further down the line. All of that sort of like becomes a byproduct of those two particular skills that I actually look for. So that's just something I'm throwing into the mix.
When I recruit people, so I would definitely agree with Rohit in the sense that I would also look at a person who is a jack of all trades but a master of few, of course. So when it comes to product marketing and growth marketing, I would look for drive, good drive. Marketing acumen is very, very important. That marketing bent of mind is very, very important. Then communication, verbal and written, irrespective of any role in the marketing, that is very crucial. But master of few, I would say in product marketing, I would say if a crude dump of data is given to a person, that person should be able to build good story out of that dump of data. And storytelling, messaging, and that kind of thinking is very important, that thought. And in growth marketing, I would say more of analytic skills and number crunching, and then number driven approach, that drive to get to those numbers, maintaining quality along with volume. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Molly said. I think making sense of things by looking at small sets of data or large sets of data and taking a decision based on it. I think that itself covers 60 to 70%. I would say all the other things can be taught, but if that basic bent of mind is there, then you can take that and involve into a lot of things. Also, like one interesting thing is like when I'm hiring for somebody for SEO kind of a role, right? So I actually prefer people who are a little OCD. Like for example, this is something I used to ask them. Like if
How will you know whether OCD will do a psychiatric
so
test?
like no, like I'll tell you one question, Dipto. Like I used to ask people is that if there's a like a clock in your house, right, and it's not working, so like how soon would you want to change the battery and get it working again? Because a person who has OCD, he cannot stand a clock which is not functioning in his home. So I would want such people, because such people want everything proper and right, which needs to be done in case of things like SEO. Everything needs to be tagged, everything needs to be done in a proper way. So this is something which actually I got from a like a colleague many years back, but I feel that it makes sense. Like if there are such people, then they can do a better job in these kind of
Be
scenarios.
careful of that kind of person during appraisal time. Huh? He will
Yeah.
bug you to death.
I don't have any such disorders, and I think I'm a decent SEO person. I very
No, no,
strong.
no, it's not a thumb rule, Rohit.
I'll have to put it out because that's a very bad measurement of somebody's skill. And
Yeah. No, it's just on a lighter note also.
Ashish is more like we are an equal opportunity hiring company.
Yeah.
I would just like to add to Ashish's point that what is important for any marketing professional is attention to details, and that is important. So I think that's what he wanted to say, right?
Right.
Okay, so last half question. See, I had an argument few months back with someone. I have not seen a SaaS. SaaS is 10 years old kind of industry, but even in IT for that matter, a CMO or a VP, says VP marketing becoming the CEO. Okay, I haven't. Okay, you might come across. Okay, but in B2C it is filled with them. Most CEOs of Levers or Nestle's and all this stuff come from the marketing function. Okay, so do you think, apart from you four, of course, do you think this a CMO will become a CEO ever of a SaaS company?
I don't think so, because to become a CEO, you need to be in a company for more than 5 years, and CMOs are there for 1.5, 2.5, 3 years at max. So it will always be there. No, I think B2B, why it is not happening, and it might happen. Nobody knows the future for sure, of course. And I think that trend is in the right direction, where CEO, like the people who usually become the CEOs, I have seen are people who are owning business numbers, and that is what really matters in a B2B scenario, or that is what you are made to believe that it matters. And marketing was always looked at to be as a afterthought or maybe a support function. But with that changing now, and with more and more CMO coming to the forefront and taking like having the guts to take decision and taking decisions, I think that particular angle will change, and I just hope that I live to see that day.
Yep.
Yeah, so with the entire shift, with the concept of the product owner coming in, taking more responsibility in terms of signing up for numbers, etc. Once internally the mini CMO or the product owner can actually develop that confidence in producing results week in, week out, quarter in, quarter out, I think that will definitely increase the chances of someone moving into a senior leadership or strategic or even CEO level role moving forward. But it's a function of time. I don't see that happening anytime soon. So we'll have to wait and watch.
I think it's a very new thought. And Dipta, you had an argument. I'm sure this was your brainchild, and it's new thought to me, and it's so exciting and it's good. And what I've seen, I'm just like trying to be very logical that if it can happen or not. In in my organization, I've seen all different kinds of CMOs, and all were advisors to the CEO, and very good advisors in the sense not just marketing strategy but business strategy, and that particular angle is very important for a CEO. So I definitely can support that and say that it can happen.
Ashish?
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, I've seen, CEOs mostly of SaaS companies, typically they come with a more focus on product, like more, product orientation rather than the market aspect, which then takes care of by the CMO, who, as Molly said, becomes the advisor to the, like a key advisor to the CEO. I think in SaaS, there are like marketing and product. These are the two core things, right, which any SaaS company will have. So I've not seen many marketing people starting a SaaS company with a very hardcore focus on marketing and then setting up a product team.
Give it 5 months. Give it 5 months.
So I've not seen I've not seen that till now. So I think that's the reason why it's not happening. But I do feel that marketing is definitely, I think it's as important as the product. I don't know why it's not happening, because places where people, they focus more on the product, and then the marketing starts pretty late when the product is made, etc. So it becomes too late in the game. So I think marketing definitely plays a role in the initial stages too. So yeah, as you said, it might, it might happen going forward, hopefully.
Okay, so any last questions, any last comments?
I would just like to say everything is fair in love and war. So it was a war, but everything is fair.
Now this just petered out to become an episode of Hum Saas Saas Hai, because product marketing and growth marketing, we basically have come to the realization that we need to work together, right, at the end of the day, and neither function can survive without the other. So closer collaboration, cohesion, and agreement in final metrics that we need to be driving, and a clearer understanding of what each function is up to and what they're driving. I think that sets the recipe for a SaaS marketing team that is bound to scale and succeed.
Rohit, any last comments?
Yeah, I mean, I have not had a very long career till now. It's just been 7 years, but I can say with conviction that 7 years ago, both the roles that we are debating about did not exist. So keep an open mind. The world might surprise you.
Ashish?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with everybody here. Like it's not, we cannot exist in silos. We have to be kind of
This is the biggest myth. We are all inside this.
Yeah, I mean, we say everybody wants to collaborate, but when it comes to doing it, unfortunately, I mean, it does happen in silos. But yeah, I mean, with things like ABM, etc., coming, wherein people have to get on to the same page to kind of move the ball forward. I think that's the way going forward too. So there'll be, I think, a lot more collaboration, and our roles will maybe expand out of what is like traditionally defined as product marketing or growth marketing, and become maybe more comprehensive than what it is right now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm just stopping the recording.